Just when you thought the NBA was going to give you this big, nice piece of candy for the NBA All-Star Game on Sunday, they tease you. And now you got to dip this apple. Welcome all sports fans and YouTubers all across the world. This is Uneducated Sports Talk. I am still your host, Carlos Clayton. And you know what? Football season is over with. I said in my last episode, that's the last time I'm getting in depth with the Super Bowl, and I meant it. So, no better way to start off this segment by the NBA All-Star Weekend. Let's get into it. I gotta say, for the festivities that went on in Toronto, one, is a great city to host. Toronto did its things. Clap for Drake. Clap for all Toronto fans. Toronto natives, all Canadian natives, to say that because Toronto represents one big, overall they celebrate Canada. And I gotta give a shout out to those guys. They did a great, wonderful weekend. They held it down, even though I heard it like below zero or something. That's cold. I'm from Louisiana. I'm used to it being in the, in the 80s on Christmas. But yeah, so shout out to that. What a wonderful weekend. You had the rookies versus sophomore games, and of course those games are always, it is what it is. Those guys show out. They don't really get any spotlight. A lot of them play on bad teams, but they don't get much spotlight. So that was a good showcasing for them. I believe it was United States versus the world. And the U.S. won 154 to 151. It's just one of those games, a pickup game pretty much. Just the NFL oohs and ahs, just like the regular NBA All-Star game is on that Sunday. But the main focus was that Saturday night. I mean, them boys went down Saturday, and you talk from the skills challenge with the big men versus the the guards, and that was a great twist on the NBA All-Star Weekend, because those big guys showed that they got game too. And as you can tell, Karl Anthony Towns, aka the Big Cat. I didn't realize Big Cat, and I thought about a KAT, Karl Anthony Towns, the Big Cat. I was like, okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. I thought the Timberwolves kind of saying at first. Wrong about that. But Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, that guy shows some skills. All of them show skill. I mean, the NBA is guard dominated these days, but the big guys are showing that, hey, we're still into winning, man. And that was a great showcase, and I loved every second of it. It came down to Karl Anthony Towns and Isaiah Thomas. Picture that 5'9", the last pick of the draft, and he was there. And then you got the number one pick, he's like 6'10", 6'11". Karl Anthony Towns was that. Congrats to him on the skills challenge. And then you get the three-point contest, which is the all bread and butter the last couple of years. The NBA, man, they're coming some talented shooters the last, 6-7 years now. Three-pointers gone up, but man, they're making a lot, and those guys displayed their weaponry, how good the NBA is when it comes to three-pointers now. Three-point percentages are going way up, and you got the likes of James Harden, and you had Chris Middleton, and no one's even heard of that guy. He's from Milwaukee, but he got a 5-year, $70 million deal just this past offseason. JJ Redick acting a fool. Then, of course, you got Steph, the man Curry, and then you got Klay Thompson. Those guys, they gave you everything you needed, man. And, of course, Klay Thompson defeats Steph Curry the last round, 27-23, and a wonderful shootout. That was my pick the whole entire time to win. It was Klay Thompson. So, I got to brag about that a little bit. But I knew it was either him or Steph Curry taking it home back to the Bay Area. Those guys are dynamic, but that's another day to talk about those two. And then what ended the night was probably the greatest slam dunk contest of my generation. I went on Twitter, if you're following, that's Carlos Clayton _. I went on Twitter and said probably the greatest slam dunk contest in my generation. I mean, maybe the Vince Carter one was up there too, but he was just one person. When you put in two guys, when you put in Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon, both going for that championship, oh my goodness, they put on display, and we would definitely get more into that later on in this episode. But that weekend, maybe just that Friday, that Saturday night, that having probably the greatest Friday, Saturday night tandem of my generation, of what I've witnessed from the All-Star games. That's probably the greatest 2 days they ever had, Friday, leading up to the NBA All-Star game on Sunday. But that Friday and Saturday is probably the two, this year was probably the greatest Friday, Saturday tandem when you put all the sports in as well. I mean, you can't forget Draymond Green losing to Kevin Hart in the three-point contest, man. Kevin Hart, man, oh my goodness. I can't forget the Celebrity All-Star games too. Kevin Hart, he had to make that comeback here, he went from coach to player, and from player to the dud. Because when he came in, his team got demolished. But it was a wonderful weekend. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And then, of course, we got to talk about Kobe Bryant. His last ever All-Star game. So he says, we'll see. He might come back in 2 or 3 years like Jordan did. Get a little itch coming in, a little itch that Jordan got. 99.9% my butt. But Kobe Bryant, his last All-Star game, Toronto did him a favor. Every time he was shown or he was seen or talked about, it was in such high praises. The whole city gave him a standing ovation, and this is the guy that threw 81 on him. So big ups to them, man. Toronto's great fans, great atmosphere. Kobe, I guess you can kind of say he deserves all the recognition for his dedication, hard work he put into the NBA, and the fans treated him like their own son. Like they've seen him play every single game. Like he played for the Raptors. That's how astonishing I thought it was, the way Kobe Bryant got treated. And big ups to him. He deserved it all. Like I said, the introductions they had for him was wonderful. I forgot all about him, it being his last one. I was like, what's going on? All the fireworks. I was like, oh, duh, Kobe Bryant. Well, what am I thinking? It's his last trip. So big up to Kobe Bryant, last All-Star game. But what I really want to talk about, despite having that great Friday and Saturday, it was wonderful. I think probably the best ever in my generation. The Sunday game, the finale, was a big dud. I'm like my man Charlie Brown. Good grief. I understand there's no defense, man. And you pray that the last 4 or 5 minutes of any All-Star game when it comes to the NBA, that you pray it's close. Because those guys, when it's close, will sort of semi get competitive the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. And then once I saw that 8-minute mark where the West kind of went on a little stretch, and all of a sudden they're about like 17 points, you could see all the guys at that point were like, okay, let's just keep acting, stupid. I thought someone would try and get, the kahunas and, bring them back in. Like LeBron, I thought LeBron would probably play a little defense and, score about 15 in a row, that kind of thing, to make it competitive down the stretch. Because all we wanted to see was Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James, one-on-one, the last 4 or 5 minutes, and they're challenging. The only challenge he got was from his old teammate Paul Gasol, and I give kudos to Paul Gasol for at least attempting to semi-guard Kobe and make it difficult for him. Kobe finished the game with 10 points. I think like 4 of 11 shooting from the field, something like that. I thought I would see a lot more shot attempts and a lot more points from him. But boy, did everybody else score. Because they were playing an Olay defense. Matador, go ahead, get your layup. Go ahead, get open threes. Paul George has 41 points. I think he comes a few points shy of the NBA All-Star record. He hit like 9 threes and he broke the record for that. So big shout out to Paul George, PG-13 doing his thing. Coming back from injury and looking good. The All-Star game, it was a big dud. You don't want to play defense, I understand. And there's nothing that you can really do about it. Because the game was just, I'm not going to say horrible. At least you get to see dunks and all the fancy passes. But at the same time, it kind of gets repetitive over a 48-minute stretch game. You're like, oh, okay, there goes another layup. There's another open dunk, another open layup, another wide open three. No one's playing defense. And I don't blame them, because all these players, I never blame the players for this. Never. But all these players, they look at this as a vacation. And it is a vacation for them. So I don't mind them at all playing away defense, but I feel bad for the fans who actually want to see the game. But that's up to, Adam Silver and the rest of those games, see how they'll change it. But I thought about it. How would you improve the game? How would you improve the NBA All-Star game? In my opinion, like the Pro Bowl for football, you really can't. You can't improve it. Because no one wants to get hurt. Oh my God, just think about what if LeBron James, or what if, Paul George, or what if Kobe Bryant, would have hurt himself in this game and his farewell tour is over like that. It's not a good thing. So those guys going, they enjoy themselves. I just wish the last 3 or 4 minutes, play defense, but don't go too hard out, but contest a few shots at the same time. But in the end, all those guys, they deserve to have a little fun. They want to play, pick-up game, no defense at all. I expect that from the rookies, just because the rookies are young kids, just trying to dunk all over the place. But when the veterans come in, I think the only one that kind of semi took it serious was Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard just takes everything serious. And it's not even serious. Like, it just doesn't bother him at all. Nothing's too big for him. I see him on the sideline, and Popovich and the rest of the game are going crazy and laughing. And there's Kawhi Leonard on the bench just like this. Can we get this over with, please? I'm ready to go back to San Antonio. But there's really no way to improve the game. You can't do it. And I don't blame anyone for not trying to do it, because let the guys have fun. Same thing I said for the Pro Bowl. I never blame the players. That's not my style. I never blame the players at all. They don't want to get hurt, and I don't blame them at all. But overall, the weekend was wonderful. Besides the Sunday night game, everything else was wonderful. From Friday to Saturday, it was off the chain. I have big kudos to Toronto. Those fans deserved everything. That's what they got, man. They deserved a wonderful weekend. And Drake, as a correspondent of that team, of the Raptors of Toronto, he did a good job as well. But right now, we're getting on to the new segment of the show. It's something I like to call Floss It or Toss It. We'll get out of the way. I give you certain subject and topics, and needless to say, let's go on with the first subject. And it is, if you can read this, my man, Magic Johnson. Now, Magic, a couple of days ago, this is right after the Super Bowl, him and Peyton Manning are sitting down. And Magic Johnson is always the guy representing for Los Angeles City. And there's a big talk about, Peyton Manning retiring is not. What did Magic Johnson say? He said, brother, I would love for you to come on down to LA and be around. And so they say, Carlos, are you going to floss it or toss it? I think about it. Magic Johnson, correspondent of LA, trying to pay Manning. As a Magic Johnson fan, I don't blame him for trying to do that. Now where's my liquor? I'm gonna go ahead and floss it. Magic Johnson, hey man, keep representing your city. I like guys who represent what they stand for. He represents Los Angeles to the T. And anything he can do to make money and bring that brand up, he's gonna do it. So I'm flossing it. Magic Johnson, go ahead and try to get Peyton Manning. You won't? So go ahead and try and get it, man. So we're gonna floss Magic Johnson all day, baby. On to the next one. I want to talk about my man, Aaron Gordon for the Orlando Magic. Aaron Gordon, look at that. I mean, the man, did he deserve to win the NBA Slam Dunk Contest? In my opinion, if there was another trophy, man, it should have gave some. That was 1A and 1A minus. I don't know what to say, 1A plus and 1A. Now, I understand that one guy has to lose, one guy has to win. But my goodness, he probably has the best stuff I've seen. And a good little man. I mean, when he caught it from the mascot and put his legs parallel like this, probably about 9 feet in the air. Put the ball on this thing. Oh man, I can't even describe it that big. Once I get a budget over like $20, I can start showing like video graphics and stuff. I don't have that. Aaron Gordon, what you displayed, man, was awesome. I think both him and Zach Levine big ups to the greatest slam dunk contest of two individuals since probably Dominique and Michael back in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, that was fantastic. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I was jumping on my seat. I had my baby in one hand, and I'm get ready to throw my baby every time. I should have just put him in the water. But I didn't drop him, so I held him. I almost threw him though, but I kind of flew the car with go on. Once I saw all the guns going on, and those guys going at man. Aaron Gordon, guess what, brother? I'm about to floss you, man. I'm flossing Aaron Gordon all day. Big ups to him. If there was a trophy for second place, they should go get him, pick him some, and tell him that he's going to be. I heard his word. Last but not least, we're going to toss in the flosses. This number is 61. I know this is an important number to most baseball fans, but we're not talking baseball. We're talking 61 wins in a row by the Connecticut women's college basketball. They went ahead and stumped stumped Temple, 85-60 in another blowout. Big ups to the women. But this 61, am I gonna floss it or toss it? It depends on what we're talking about. This 61 doesn't represent UConn to me. This 61 represents Gino Oriana. And in my opinion, am I gonna toss it or floss it? Tossing that bad boy. Tossing it. And it's for Gino Oriana. I'm getting sick and tired. You can call me a hater all you want. Call it to me. But I mean, what more do you want? It's like when you go into the gym and see this big buff guy here, like -2% body fat, and he's still working on that big guns. And you're like, dude, you won. What are you doing? What you doing here, man? Gino Oriana, he's driving me nuts now with this UConn women's team. This team is never going to lose it. They're steady beating teams 94-30. Like 3 games I saw, they won like 60 points. And then they faced against the number 2 team in the nation, South Carolina, just a couple days ago, going to their building and beating by 14. It was an easy 14 too. It wasn't kind of a close game. They kind of dominated the game. This team is never going to lose. This team is going to win like a 20,000 straight game in a row. I don't see what Gino's doing. I think he needs to go either to college again or go to the NBA. And that level, I think he has enough to prove. But some people, I had to talk with Jay Neff from the Last Word podcast. My boy, y'all check out the Last Word out. Matter of fact, podcast, check it out. Jay Neff, my boy, Third City. They get down with it. But I had to talk with Jay Neff, and he was saying some people just love the power. They love having absolute power. And Gino has absolute power, and I don't blame him for not wanting to leave a good thing, a great thing. But at the same time, man, there's nothing else to lose, man. Go ahead and just try a new challenge. Spark something up. I'm tired of winning so many games in a row. It's not even fair anymore. It's just starting to be not fair. You're getting all the good girls every single year. It's not fair. Try something up. I try to toss you. But yeah, Magic Johnson was flossing. Aaron Gordon, we flossing as well. Gino, brother, I had to toss you out the way, man. That was Flossable Talk. Like Ernie Johnson is brought to you by nobody. I'm going to go ahead with another segment. It's basically just a random topic that I will do every single show. Just something out of the blue that no one else is talking about at all. And so my first random topic I want to talk about is the #1 seed in college basketball. Oh my God, talk about the bad luck curse. Everyone keeps losing. I believe it's been about 6 or 7 #1 seeds this year who have all lost. No one seems to have won it right now. Villanova is the #1 seed, and they're not even #1 seed material to me at all. Shouts out to Kansas and Oklahoma. Another great game they played. With Kansas winning again against Oklahoma, this time in Oklahoma, Sooner Nation. And I believe that Kansas should be the #1 seed, but they gave it to Villanova just to give it to them because they haven't lost in a while. So Villanova deserves the #1, but they're not #1 material. They will eventually lose now, but that just tells you the balance of this college basketball season. I'm loving it, and we're talking minutes this time. I'm loving the college basketball season, the balance of it. There's a good 15 teams that can actually win this tournament, and that's what makes March Madness so much more exciting for me. So I'm excited to see that. The #1 seeds are all going down. Who's the real #1 seed? We'll find out in later episodes. I just start getting in late February to talk about the March Madness tournaments coming up, or the conference tournaments coming up as well. So we're gonna see that, and I'm excited about that. But I want to take y'all, backtrack to what I was saying earlier about the Last Word podcast. That's my boy Jay Nell and my boy Dirk Simeon. Check them out. It's the Last Word podcast. Like and subscribe, man. Like I said, we talk about everything. Right now, we just moved into basketball, so those two have great conversations as well. I'm excited for where that's going. It's like a sister show, man. So we doing our thing, bro. So check out the Last Word podcast. Like and subscribe. And if you're loving the camera work as well, holler at my brother Darius Clayton. His channel is Clay_D. That is CLAY_DEE. He does videos, he does weddings, photography, anything dealing with camera. That's the man. So check him out as well. I'm loving the way the camera view is. As you can see, this is Uneducated Sports Talk. Get it right. Uneducated Sports Talk is going down. Also, I got another new segment coming out. It's called Uneducated Thoughts. If you haven't seen it, the first episode, it is on YouTube. We talk about Cam Newton and him being the African-American quarterback and how's that getting to his head. So check that out as well on my channel. Like I said, that's Uneducated Thoughts. Basically, Uneducated Sports Talk presents Uneducated Thoughts. So the first episode is usually 2 to 5 minutes each time I get on there about my uneducated thoughts. And like I said, the first one was about Cam Newton. And I just have another, topic that I want to talk about that I really can't talk about on my show because I only do the show maybe 15 to 20 minutes long per episode. So then when I say, oh, I forgot to talk about something, I'll just throw a random, thought out there, and that's Uneducated Thoughts. So check it out. The first episode is on YouTube. So let's wrap it up. So as always, sports fans, stay smart, stay uneducated.